Most of us want to be liked, but if we didn't receive the healthy nurturing at a young age, we often go to great lengths just to feel loved. Rob Grace shares his difficult but greatest transformation.
You know, it's interesting. I was thinking about it, and life pushes us to do what's necessary for growth. And when we, most of us, and myself included for many years, would reject that push. And
oh, completely.
You go for what's comfortable and what's easy in the moment, not seeing the vision that lies ahead, not willing to do the work, to suffer or to go without in order to become a better, stronger person.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah. It's kind of the American way.
Right.
So my life, well, going back, I led a very, I don't know how you say, ingenuine life. I was not true to myself. I had no idea I was doing that.
Right.
But I lived for other people. I lived.
It's easy to fall into that.
Is it?
I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, that was my path, my journey. But I was so hungry, so starved to be loved and accepted that I worked diligently to be what I thought the world wanted me to be, you know. And it wasn't until I did everything right, seemingly right, worldly right, and had the life that the world told you you're supposed to have in order to be happy, and found myself unhappy, which is a weird paradigm to be in.
Oh yeah.
You know, you do everything right, you have everything that you're supposed to have to be happy, and you find yourself with an inner sadness.
Incomplete.
Yeah. So, and I would have never pushed through that pain. The people that I loved did that for me. They, the life that I created was dissolved without my intention. And for the first time in my life, I found myself alone. For the first time in my life, I thought, what do you want? Who do you want to be? You know?
That's a gift in itself.
Yes, it was a huge gift in hindsight. But in the moment, it's painful and confusing and difficult. So much easier to make other people's dreams come true. It's so much easier to be loved for who they think you are or who they want you to be, than to have the strength to be genuine to yourself and be who you are and figure out who that is and live that authentic life and let go of the desperate need to be loved. I'm okay now if you don't like me, because I like myself for the first time. You know, I don't need to be loved by the world at large or strangers, or I don't need to be right. I'm happy for the first time ever with who I truly am.
That is the most amazing thing ever. And I think that's what I've been searching for my whole life, because it's easy to try to make everyone else around you happy. And unfortunately, it's miserable once you get to that point. So you lost everything, and you decided to move to Palm Springs.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm a crier.
That's okay.
Which is also a gift. Like, I've never been able to stop it. It's like this thing where, and I know I hold no stress in my body, no pain, no ailment, and I really believe it's because I process my emotions immediately, and I've never feared away from showing my emotions. So I lost my marriage and my home, and I was alone for the first time. And everywhere that I drove, every restaurant that I went to, every gas station, every street corner had a memory of the marriage that I had lost. And it was so painful, you know? And I felt I had to go somewhere new. I had to go somewhere new.
Right. And redefine yourself.
Yeah.
And recreate yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my ex took my child out of state to a very rural area without any type of, like, there there was no
Internet?
jobs.
No, I'm just kidding.
There's the internet half the time. Yeah. But you know, there's a Pizza Hut there, so I thought about working at a Pizza Hut,
Right.
to be near my child. But the reality of the situation is, there's not a livelihood that I can create. There's not a future I can create for my child there.
Right.
So I'm alone, against my will, and I thought, where will
You
I
want to
go?
be the best person you can be, and you want to be the best father you can be.
Yeah. And you know, life is never what we dream
Plan it to be.
or plan it to be.
Right.
But the beauty is it's not supposed to be. Life is not supposed to be easy, and there is no good. There's no my reality. What my spirit resonates with is that there is no evil versus good. Like even the people that have offended me, have hurt me, have violated me, have stolen from me, are a gift to me. And my answer to that pain is twofold. A, I embrace you. I love you. And this that you are giving me is a reflection of your pain. And my only response is compassion to you, because you must be in such a horrible place. And thank you for this experience, because the deeper the pain that we endure opens us up for its opposite of joy. And I've had moments, seconds, of pure joy, of like a true happiness that comes from my spirit. And I know that those moments wouldn't be possible without the opposite moments that I've had in life. So
I love that. So when you moved to Palm Springs, you just let life come to you and come through you.
I was afraid.
Oh, of course.
Like I had no money left, and my car was not operating, and I had no job, and frankly, I have no skills. I mean, I'm not, I didn't.
I beg to differ. I think you have a lot of skills.
But I'm not like I'm not an attorney. I don't have a legal degree. I'm not a doctor.
Yet?
I don't have.
No, I'm just kidding.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have a trade with an education or background. I came and I thought there was a chance that I wouldn't survive. I did, but it was a chance that I was willing to take, because I could no longer live
the way you were living
someone else's life.
Oh, I love that. And how true is that? How many of us actually live a life that we just think is what the social standards want us to be?
We're brainwashed.
Completely.
Society brainwashes us.
Yeah.
And
you fought the brainwash and you got out of it. So now you're living in Palm Springs.
Yes. And so I thought to myself, how can I provide value? What can I do to make a difference in other people's lives? How can I celebrate the people of this community? And I didn't know how, but each and every day I woke up with that intention, and as needs emerged in others, I found a way to fill them.
Starting out professionally in the fashion industry with an exciting, fast-paced career, Trisha Grace Bazerman made the thoughtful and loving choice of devoting herself full-time to raising her family. As happened to many in her generation, she went through a divorce and made the wise and brave decision to reinvent herself.
When I was about 7, I thought, I want to be a fashion designer. So that was always what I had set in my mind to do. And I went after that, and I really, in my younger early 20s, worked for a brand and created a very successful line. And
Can you say the brand?
sure, it was Teas of California.
Okay.
It was children's wear, and
Fabulous.
it was a successful, fun 10-year run. And I got to grow and build the company from nothing into a very large company.
Wow.
So after that, what I really wanted in my life was to have a family. Like I really wanted to have my children and have a family. I have 3 beautiful girls, and I retired from my career to stay home with my kids. And I thought, that was the most important thing to me. And I always thought, when I retired, I said I'll never go back into the fashion apparel industry because it's for younger people, and it takes a lot of energy and a lot of hours. And
Boy, I'm glad you changed your mind. But what made you change your mind?
well, I had to follow a path in my life where I had to follow my truth. And in following my truth and being my authentic self, unfortunately, I went through a divorce, and I had to recreate myself. I sold my house. My dream house that I built, and I had my kids mostly raised. And I thought, you know what, if I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna change everything. And I changed everything and moved to Los Angeles from Huntington Beach, and I was living in the city for the first time, and I had to sit really quiet for a year.
Seriously, that is a wonderful thing to tell people that don't know what they're doing.
Right.
You took a year. That was perfect.
So I just sat quiet for a year and just got in tune with, what are you good at doing? I had taught the art of cooking for 6 years when my kids were growing up, and I was like, no, that's not really it. I was like, what do you do best? And this little voice was like, you got to go back to the fashion industry. Wow. But this other little voice was like, oh my God, you're too old to do that. You can't go back and do that.
That was your ego. You got to get rid of the ego. Okay.
So as it got quieter, and I was like, oh my God, why can't you do that? And so I just, I had this passion for, I'd never done women's wear. I'd never designed women's wear. So I had this passion for bringing women back to their femininity.
While you're telling us, we're going to have model Panda, and she is wearing one of your designs. So why don't you tell the audience what I love, the feminine and the frill. Oh my goodness, that's so pretty.
My lifestyle had always been feeling very feminine under everything that I wore, with these beautiful vintage slips. And, as a woman with curves and having kids, when I would put a slip on underneath the dress, you don't have to have something tight underneath to have your dress slip over what you're wearing and look beautiful. But I felt sexy and beautiful and feminine for myself. And I thought, all women should feel this way.
I totally agree.
All women should feel this way. And so I would wear the slips as dresses with little denim jackets, or as slip dresses,
very
outerwear,
cool
or like you saw in Panda, really cute, outerwear to go, out at night. And it was just kind of my personal style. And then I had fun. I decided, well, they need to be in colors, so then I would have fun dyeing them.
Oh my goodness, how gorgeous.
Dyeing them in beautiful colors. So
and that's very Victoria Lake,
right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, she
and,
looks
and
very.
She's doing the Victoria Lake real well, but also she's doing the style. That was that era.
Right.
So you've brought that very romantic. I would call that the romantic era.
Definitely, where it was the art of allure. It was we take time to get dressed. We feel feminine and beautiful for ourselves, and owning that. And I wanted all women to feel that. So I opened up an atelier in West Hollywood, which is just a beautiful historical building, and it's by appointment only. And I started over dyeing in all these fun colors, these slip dresses.
That was gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the color is beautiful.
Right. Okay. And then I started manufacturing, just flowy feminine dresses that could layer over the slips, and put together a really nice collection that way. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do with this? Like, where am I going to go with this? So I decided to brand the line. So I had a very wonderful team come in and help me put together branding for the line. It's very versatile, travels really nicely, it's comfortable. I'm going to be doing a nationwide launch for boutiques.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be doing also, not just for little boutiques throughout the country. And then I'll have online sales as well.
So you'll be putting your brand in different boutiques.
Yes.
That's fabulous.
Yes.
And this is the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And you just followed a dream, basically.
I moved the fear aside. That's the biggest thing. Is it's like when you're starting over, when you're 55 years old, and you haven't been in the workforce, and the apparel industry changed dramatically. And what I did was I really took the the time to just get quiet and listen to the path.
Many of us have been disillusioned by our present political system, and rightfully so. One of our local celebrities and radio personalities, Rich, the Coach Gilgallen, host of Hot Talk, shares how and why he first became involved in politics.
Well, I was my class president from Framingham North High School. And in 1972, you could, for the first time, vote as an 18-year-old. Mm-hmm. And so shortly after that, I went to the town clerk's office of my hometown. I said, hey, if you can vote at 18, can you run for something?
Oh, I love it.
And this was so long ago. This guy's name was Mike Ward. He was smoking a cigar in his office. You know, he goes, yeah, what do you want to run for? I said, I don't know. What do you got? He said, well, we have selectmen, which is like, would be like a city councilor. Mm-hmm. I said, no, I don't think so. We got public works. I said, no. We got park commissioner.
And what does that entail?
I said, that sounds like it might be me. I said, what do they do? He said, well, they give jobs to people. They fill the parks in the summer with, workers. Yeah. And they keep up the park and recreation and maintenance. I said, I'm going to run for that.
That actually sounds pretty good.
And so he told me, he said, well, go ahead, but there's two guys that have been there for 20 years. You're not going to win. But I said, but feel free to run. I said, fine.
Challenge accepted.
So I ran, knocked on thousands of doors, and at age 18 got elected park commissioner of the town of Framingham.
So mainly to get your name out there, you went door knocking and
That's
introduced yourself and said,
my name's Rich Gilgallen. I'm running for park commissioner. I hope you'll consider me. A bunch of friends of mine and I, in my mother's garage, cut out a stencil from one, cardboard sign, Gilgallen for park commissioner, spray painted, 300. And we drive around town and look for nice locations on corners. I'd go up and knock on the door, say, my name's Rich Gilgallen. I'm running for park commissioner. Could I put a sign on your lawn?
I love it.
And they would say, well, young man, you go right ahead and put a sign out there.
I'm sure everyone loved that.
Well, it was a unique time, because the voting age had lowered.
Right.
This is 1972.
People weren't scared of someone knocking on their door at that point.
Very good point. The Vietnam War was still going on, though it was winding down at the time. So there was a lot of excitement, and I always was fascinated with politics. I grew up in a very political family. My grandmother was the Democratic County chairwoman for Lackawanna County in northeastern Pennsylvania in Scranton. Wow. And I just had a bug for it.
So it's just in your blood.
It was, yeah.
Wow.
When I wound up working for other candidates, and actually my job was in the garbage dump in Framingham. And at one point, you want to talk about turning point?
Yeah.
A friend of mine called me up and said, I have a friend of mine who's running for Congress. It was an empty seat. And are you working for anybody yet? There were like 5 or 6 or 8 people running. I said, no. I said, send them out. I'll take them around. Turned out that guy got elected to Congress.
Wow.
And so I was in the garbage dump on Friday and was working in the Capitol in Washington, D.C. on Monday.
Wow.
So,
that's a huge change.
That's a big turning point there, yeah.
Did you miss the dump?
I did not.
I believe that.
My mother said, you're doing the same business. You
taking out the trash.
You were taking out you're working at the garbage over here. Now you're working with the garbage over there. But,
I love it.
Well, for somebody who loves politics, to actually work on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, that must have been really exciting.
The congressional office was very,
being
very exciting.
young and that was a really wonderful time.
Great time.
And Capitol Hill as well.
It's a very exciting place. Have you been to Washington, D.C.?
I haven't yet.
Yeah, you'd love it.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to stay away from politics because I'm so unknowledgeable, in all honesty, that I can't have a very good debate about them. But I'm fascinated by the entire process and what it's become in America and how powerful it really can be and how powerful our voices really can be if we're knowledgeable.
Look, one person can change the world.
You believe that?
One person can change the world. It's happened so many times in the history of this world where one person has made a decision and has changed the entire world. When we read about people in history, we because we read the word on the page, it seems to me that we forget that they're human beings.
Right.
You know, when you talk about Caesar,
Right.
I mean, when you talk about some of these great leaders in history, just watched the brilliant Netflix show, The Crown.
Oh, yeah.
Where John Lithgow plays Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was one man,
He changed
and
the
he
world.
changed the world.
It's true.
He convinced his country that was not actually all that excited about it to fight the Nazis.
Wow.
And change the world.
Thank you for watching today's show. If you have a turning point you'd like to share, please call the number at the bottom of the screen.
All good things must come to an end. But don't worry, we'll be back next week with more inspiring stories that can change your life.
And remember, the secret to change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Have a wonderful week.